Alright guys, so in this video we're checking out this electric screwdriver from Sequre. It's called the SQ-ES126 Smart Screwdriver. And well, I'm not really sure why it's called smart, but I guess we'll find out when we start using it. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we get in the box here. It's we get a screwdriver and then a bunch of actually screw bits and tips and stuff. So let's see, we get the actual screwdriver itself. I think it's made out of some sort of a stainless steel. Pretty nice. Charges by USB Type-C. And we get stickers, of course, and we have a small manual. And let's see, it's English on one side, Chinese on the other. Alright, so inside the bottom there was this case, and this has all the extra screw bits. And it looks like it's held on with a couple of magnets. And you get a pretty large selection of bits here. So you get a bunch of Phillips head, different sizes, standard, some Torx, and some hex as well. So it's not the hugest selection of bits. Actually, I have another electric screwdriver that I've been using for a couple of years now. It's this one here. You've probably seen links in my descriptions of all of my videos. I use this pretty much all the time. It's called the Xiaomi Wow Stick and comes with a bunch of bits as well. It's the only downside of this one is it doesn't have a lot of power, a lot of torque. I'm thinking that the Sequre one's probably going to have a bit more. It's not as long, but it is a bit fatter, so I'm thinking the motor inside is going to be a bit bigger. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so on the actual bits themselves, they are labeled. And this is a 1.5. I use this size a lot, this hex 1.5. And I think this one here, this is a 2.0. So these are the two sizes I mostly use. And actually, I use these manual screwdrivers quite a bit here. This is from a company called Wera. This is a 2.0 and 1.5. Pretty good drivers if you're looking for those. They're not that expensive. But I use those a lot as well as the electric one. Mainly the electric one, and it's not necessary. Well, it's not absolutely necessary, but it's nice when you have to do a lot of screwing and unscrewing, and also good for those screws that are really long. We have to sit there and manually unscrew them for 5 minutes. The electric screwdriver does it a lot faster. So just come with this also like a manual. So if you want to hand drive your screws in, you could use this with bits. It has a nice little rotating end here, basically. So yeah, it's a little longer than I prefer. It's about the same as the ones I have. I think it depends on where the handle is, but yeah, if you prefer just to do things manually, or if there's certain screws that are screwed in too tight and you need a lot of force or torque to be able to unscrew them or screw them in, then obviously doing it by hand, this tool is going to come in handy. Alright, so let's see how this thing works. Let's put the bit here on the inside, and then I believe you just press the button, it should turn on, and you get a little battery indicator. And I think this little screw is like an animation, and as well as a setting. So to change the setting here, I think you triple click this will change different settings. There's an angle mode, and then there's just different levels of torque for the actual driving part of the screw. So the angle mode, I think it will change. Yeah, if you when the screen goes away, that means the setting is set. So it's currently in that angle mode there. And in order to run it, you have to press either one of the bottom button or the top button. If you press the bottom button, it'll just operate without the LED. Press the top button, it'll operate with the LED. So you can see here the speed will change with the angle. It's kind of hard to see, but slowing down at this angle, speeding up at that angle. It's called angle sensing mode, and that's with the LED on. If you don't want the LED, press the bottom button. And I think it detects which way you want to turn it. So it's going That's loosening. And there's an animation showing the screws loosening there. If you twist the other way, it's tightening. See the screw going down like that. You can see that. So basically, let me just demonstrate here. This is an M1.5 hex bit. And so just stick that in there, and then if you just twist, you have to actually, if you don't press the button, it won't do anything. It'll just act manually. But this screws in pretty good, so let's see how good this torque is. So we'll use it with the light on, and then, okay, that's pretty good. And let's tighten this. Okay, so we need to change the setting to a different one that has more torque. I think the amount of power it uses depends on the angle that you're setting here, so it's going to be a little tricky doing this on camera. Let's see here. Yeah, the more angle I have, the more it is giving it power. But let's just set the setting manually here. So we'll triple click this button, and let's just go to the 1 setting. Let's see how that works. So, okay, so that's the maximum power, it looks like. Yeah, so actually, yeah, using the manual mode is better than the angle mode where you have to adjust it, kind of fine tune it. Just set the power manually, and it'll just use that power. I think you're probably going to want the maximum power, so there, it auto shuts off when you're not using it, and then when you want to use it, just turn it back. Just press the button and go ahead and just start using it. Yeah, you want the maximum torque. Yeah, that works pretty well. So if you do want to upgrade the firmware on here, which I'm not sure how necessary or interesting that is in terms of like firmware updates in the future, but they will be available on the Sequre website if they do come out. You can just plug in this to your computer via USB-C, and it'll show up as basically as a USB drive, and then you just copy the file over to the USB drive, and that'll update the firmware inside the screwdriver. I'm not sure how much it'll change the characteristics of it. In terms of the power and everything, that's all kind of fixed. Maybe they might add some features in the future, but that firmware update feature is there if you want to do that. But otherwise, it's it's obviously not a necessity in terms of getting things done in the RC hobby, but it makes things a little bit easier, a little bit faster sometimes, especially for those longer screws where you just or if you have a whole bunch of screws to unscrew, like if you want to take apart a frame, you got to go through each one of these one by one, and doing them by hand, it could take some time. Something like this, having a little electric screwdriver, does speed things up, and this one definitely feels like it has more power than the one that I have from before, and plus I think the battery in that one is starting to go. And speaking of the battery in here, it's a 320 milliamp hour 1S. Takes about 40 minutes to charge, and the runtime is about an hour according to the manual. Alright, it's going to do it for this video. Links down in the description if you want to check it out. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.